everyone, and welcome back to another video on my channel. It is Bookatarian here for my June TBR. And I'm participating in the Whatever You Want-A-Thon book browsing vlog, and I'll leave her channel name down below, so if you want it, you can just search her up on YouTube and find her channel. A queer, mostly queer focused, but also with enough flexibility that you can do whatever you want with it, given the title. And I wasn't entirely certain because I had pledged myself to the middle grade Monarchs team. I wasn't sure if I would be able to pick all middle grade and mostly queer books. If I was only allowed to read middle grade, because queer and middle grade is very hard to come by because there's just not a lot of books that have queer representation in that age range, basically. So I wasn't entirely certain, but then I watched people's videos making their own TBRs for it, and they're like, oh, you don't have to stick with it. It's just you get bonus points if it is that genre or age range. And another reason why I am participating in the Whatever You Want-A-Thon is because I am bisexual myself, and I have just recently come out of the closet to my family, and a few of my friends do know. Now you do as well. And this is my first outed Pride experience, and so I really just wanted to be able to participate in something that will affirm and celebrate my identity. So that's why I'm participating in this readathon, though even if I wasn't bi, I still would participate in this because I love reading anything queer anyways. So there's that. Anyways, that is all of my announcements aside. I will now get to drawing. I had to refill the bag because it was getting a little bit low. Draw number 1. I didn't look, I promised. Okay, alright. So we have a manga. Should be interesting. I wonder if I can... Do I have... I don't know if I have any queer manga. I'll have to look into that. Okay. With superheroes. Shouldn't have a problem with that either. A sequel. Draw number 4. Yes, an audiobook, which honestly would have happened anyway, since a majority of what I read is audiobooks now. Draw number 5. A shelf coordinate. I've forgotten I had these. Okay, so it's 2, 4. And then the last draw, number 6. Read a book from the author of Tiffany D. Jackson. This is interesting. Not a whole lot I can do with queer representation as far as I know. Alright, so I'm gonna go and pick my books and come back and show them to you. I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm back. I have all of my books decided. I'll start off as usual with the ones that I don't own physically. The first one being the audiobook. I'm going to be listening to my friends and family book club pick for the month of May and June, and that is Tell the Wolves I'm Home by Carol Rivka Brunt. And this book, it's weird. It's kind of at an age where it's in between middle grade and young adult. I'm going based off of my own age, and the main character is 14 in this book. I was 14 and still in middle school, so I'm counting this book as a middle grade. This counts as a middle grade. June? So it follows June, and she processes her grief over the passing of her uncle, who is also her godfather, who has passed away from AIDS. And as she realized that, well, she knew, she deals with the fact that her uncle's boyfriend, who everyone in her family is blaming for her uncle's death because he died from AIDS and supposedly got AIDS from the boyfriend. She is processing her grief over the loss of her uncle and also trying to learn more about her uncle and her uncle's boyfriend as they both kind of bond and get closer in dealing with their grief. So the next one is the sequel, or a sequel, and I'm continuing a series that I started a few months ago, which was Anya and the Dragon by Sophia Pasternak. And the second book is called Anya and the Nightingale, and it basically follows the same crew that we met in the first book, which is Ivan and Anya, who are new friends from the same village. Ivan just recently moved there, and Anya and her family are kind of persecuted because they are Jewish. She has to deal with the fact that her father was summoned to fight in the war, and her family is kind of on the edge of being evicted from their home. And one day Anya discovers a dragon in a world where dragons are supposed to be hunted down or in the process of being hunted down and maybe being close to being extinct, something like that. And so she meets the dragon and eventually befriends the dragon, and their adventures kind of expand from there. I really enjoyed book one, and I can't wait to see what the sequel has in store for it. Anyway, so on to the books that I actually physically own myself. We have the book coordinate for 2-4. Very convenient that this is a queer book. I forget how it's queer. The main character's father in this book is gay or something like that. It's queer in some way. Oh, and I haven't forgot I forgot to tell you what it's called. Okay, so we got We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson, and this follows Henry, who is struggling with a lot of things. His older brother is a college dropout who has a pregnant girlfriend. His mom is struggling to keep the rest of their family together. And he one day gets abducted by aliens. So I can get more queer reads into this TBR. Alright, so for the manga, I have A Silent Voice by Yoshitoki Oima. This isn't queer as far as I know in any way, at least I don't think it is. But this follows Shoya and Shoko. Shoya is the main character, and he is dealing with the fact that he was a pretty big bully in his younger years, about middle school or grade school. He bullied Shoko, who was a new student in his class and is also deaf, and he really gave her a hard time until she eventually transferred out of his class into a different school. Then, in which case, he then took the blame for bullying Shoko, even though it was not just him. Everyone in his entire class basically had a hand in bullying her. So he then gets turned into a bullying victim himself, and it follows the timeline of the year that she was bullied, as well as several years into the future in which Shoya is on the verge of committing suicide over the guilt of what he did. But then he decides to try to befriend or check up on Shoko to see how she's doing and maybe apologize before he goes. And he eventually decides that he doesn't want to take his life, he wants to instead try and befriend Shoko. So, for the prompt with superheroes, we of course have My Hero Academia by Kohei Horikoshi, and this follows a young boy named Izuku Midoriya who lives in a world in which 80% of the human population has some kind of superpower, which they call quirks. Unfortunately, Izuku is not one of this 80% and is quirkless. That, however, does not stop his dream from becoming a superhero, which is a job now legally. You can get paid by the government to be a superhero, use your superpowers or quirks to save people, and get paid doing it. He wants to be a superhero very badly, and upon a chance meeting of his all-time favorite superhero named All Might, he learns that he does in fact need a quirk to become a superhero, but All Might is willing to make him an offer. Train to become a hero under All Might's watchful eye, and All Might will give Izuku his quirk. And that's basically the first volume's plot, and the story kicks off from there. I love everything I've read from the manga, and I've loved everything I've seen from the show. I haven't watched season 5, so if you have watched the few episodes of season 5 that are out, please do not spoil me in the comments. I do not want to be spoiled. Anyways, that is the next pick for this. Okay, and lastly, for the Tiffany D. Jackson pick, we have Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. I don't know what the main character's name is, but it follows her when her best friend goes missing. No one really looks that hard for her, the best friend, and I think the best friend's name is Monday, what called Monday's Not Coming. And then after about a year of being missing, Monday comes back, and they all start to kind of unravel where it was that she had gone to, what had happened to her over that one missing year. I don't think this book is queer, as far as I know. Maybe it is. I'm hoping that there's some kind of female-female romance in here. but I can't really confirm it because I don't know. But anyways, those are all of the books that I plan on reading for the month of May. I probably will try and add some more onto here for the sake of the readathon. However, I only pledged 4 books and I can at least fill one of them, I think. Well, with Anya the Dragon and um, Tell the Wolves I'm Home. I have 2 of those filled out as middle grade. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what the month brings. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video soon. Bye!